Star pilots, I said, letting the words hang in the heat of the television spotlight like a curl of cigarette smoke. Star pilots built the universe as we know it. They were the lifeblood of humanity. In the darkness beyond the studio lights, a multitude of widened eyes boggled in my direction. The indistinct shape of the main camera shifted a little as the operator adjusted his grip. Nothing was keeping order out there in the black, I continued. You wanted to get supplies to your colony in the next star system, and a pirate wanted to steal them. What did you do? Call the police? No, you got a star pilot to transport them. Someone who could outfly, outgun, and just plain out-crazy the pirates. Someone who had dedicated their life to righting wrongs across space. I leaned back in my chair and let my eyes drop in melancholy. They're not needed anymore, now that we have quantum tunneling, and everything can get where it needs to be in the blink of an eye, but we wouldn't have that if it weren't for star pilots. You wouldn't have anything you take for granted now if it weren't for star pilots. And that's why I have to keep telling their stories. Said the interviewer, nodding appreciatively. Then he spun quickly to acknowledge a movement in the crowd. Yes, question over there? A new spotlight appeared over the upraised hand, which quickly descended. Said its owner. Do you ever pick your nose and eat the bogies? A titter ran through the assembly of cross-legged children before me. Ooh, said my interviewer. That's a cheeky question, isn't it? Do you, Mr. McKeown? I stared into his googly eyes. He was a monstrous red animatronic covered in red wool, voiced and puppeteered by someone who appeared to be taking enormous relish in the knowledge that his real self was well outside the range of my fist. I rested my elbow on the arm of my chair, a plastic throne covered in blinking light bulbs, with a sign overhead bearing the words, "The Hot Seat," in an extremely excited font, and propped up my face with my hand as I regarded the boy who had asked the question. Like virtually every child I saw these days in Ritzico City, he lacked obvious parental supervision. But why should he need any? What few restrictions on quantunnels there had been were now lifted, after quantunneling had proved to have no long-term ill effects. The intra-city network had been expanding like crazy over the last year. Most of these kids were probably going to teleport straight from the lobby of this TV studio to their home apartment buildings. Well, I said in a monotone, I'd say we've all been guilty of that at one time or another. The boy turned to the practically identical boy sitting to his right and swatted him spitefully across the shoulder. See, I told you, he said. We've got time for one more question, declared the felt horror with the microphone. As the silence drew on, a good percentage of the audience transferred their hands to their back pockets and took an interest in the ceiling. Come on, everyone, ask anything you want. It's Jacques McKeown. Yes? A slim arm belonging to a trembling girl in spectacles snapped back down like the arm of a mousetrap, but the spotlight was already swinging over, and it was too late for her to change her mind. She quickly rose out of some kind of nervous reflex and stood fidgeting with her hands and rolling her eyes as she attempted to compose her question while in the process of saying it. Hello, Mr. McKeown, she said in a voice like someone sighing into a whistle. My daddy has all of your books on his shelf, and he likes making model spaceships, and he's always talking about how star pilots used to be really great and how it's sad that no one talks about them anymore. She paused to moisten her lips. So what I would like to know is if you have ever thought about writing a book about real people. Okay, said the puppet host, sensing from the way I had just slumped in my chair that I was disinclined to reply with anything broadcastable. That's all the time we have for the hot seat today. Our guest was Jacques McKeown, a really important writer who your mum and dad could probably tell you all about. But stick around, Jack, because later on you could be our extra special celebrity contestant on the Wheel of Slime. The what? I said, but my mic had already been cut off.